In Chapter 11, we look at sexual behaviors in adolescence. Premarital sexual behavior. Times have changed a bit in our attitudes regarding sexual behavior. A survey was done and it found that 47% of high school students have engaged in sexual intercourse. These rates of sexual behavior have actually declined slightly since 1991. Fewer Americans are waiting until they marry to have sex, but most sexually active high school students show no signs of having a large number of partners. We refer to this as serial monogamy, which means that you have intercourse with only one partner at a time. This is becoming the cultural norm. A number of factors are associated with engagement in sexual activity. Older teens are more likely to engage in sexual activity. Lower socioeconomic status, minority adolescents also report higher rates of sexual activity. Having a boyfriend or girlfriend, and also how high your educational aspirations are also influence whether or not you have been sexually active. Reports of oral sex are on the rise. Although these behaviors do not carry the risk of pregnancy, they still can transmit sexually transmitted diseases. Why do adolescents have sex? Many reasons, one of those being curiosity. Some do it as a desire for affection, loneliness, need to gain status, confirmation of masculinity or femininity, bolstering their self-esteem, or sometimes as a way to express anger or escape from boredom. Americans hold many different standards of sexual behavior. Abstinence can mean different things to different people. Typically, abstinence means not having sexual intercourse. Sex with affection, commitment, and responsibility occurs when teens are in love. Sex can also occur with affection and commitment, but not responsibility, which can cause problems if there's an unwanted pregnancy. There's also the term friends with benefits or casual sex, in which there's only affection, no commitment. We still see a double standard, which means that there's a different set of standards for males versus females when it comes to acceptable sexual behavior. Sexually transmitted diseases, contraception use is very important for sexually active teens. 90% of adolescent girls who are sexually active and who do not use contraception become pregnant within 1 year, and even more of them will develop STDs. Only 32% of 15 to 19-year-old females report using contraception. There are various types available. Condoms are the most common. Then the hormonal methods, such as pill, patches, the IUD. Emergency contraception available over the counter. Many health officials believe that condoms should be the contraceptive of choice because it does reduce the risk of pregnancy and also reduces the risk of contracting an STD. Although sexually active individuals have a risk of contracting STDs, adolescents are at a big risk of this, mainly because they make bad decisions, risky decisions, and so this puts them at a higher risk. The prevalence of common STDs in America for the 15 to 20-year-old population, any STD is 37.5%, HPV is 29.6%, chlamydia 7%, trichomonas 3.6%, herpes 3.4%, and gonorrhea 2.5%. Here are some facts about sexually transmitted diseases. You do want to know that chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis are all considered bacterias. HPV and HIV and herpes are all considered viruses. Viruses cannot be cured. You can use medications and treatments to treat the symptoms, but you will always have the virus. With bacteria, you can take antibiotics and get rid of the bacteria. AIDS is the 8th leading cause of death for 50 to 24-year-old Americans. Although rates of death among teens is low, many of those who have AIDS as an adult actually contracted it as a teen. The best way to prevent AIDS is to abstain from sex or to use latex condoms. And then unwanted pregnancy and abortion. Why are the rates of teen pregnancy highest in the U.S. compared to other developed countries? We are more likely to have sex, but less likely to use contraception. Also, we are less likely to talk to our teenagers about using contraception than other countries. They're better at educating their teens than we are. Who should educate adolescents on sexual information? Different ideas on this. Usually sources of sex education are siblings, teachers, parents, relatives, miscellaneous sources, media. The role of parents, they are really the best place for adolescents to get information, but oftentimes they're embarrassed or uninformed, or they're afraid that giving the information will actually lead to experimentation. Schools also have a very unique opportunity in that all adolescents go to school, and so they could provide good education here. The debate here is whether or not parents want the schools to give this information. What parents prefer schools to talk about? The highest thing is STDs and STD testing. As you get into other topics, the lowest one would be obtaining birth control pills. So basically what parents want them to focus on is on the sexually transmitted diseases as opposed to contraceptives.